Welcome to the Ultimate Sports Podcast. Today is Monday, September 2nd, 2019, Labor Day. Today we're going to go over the weekend's college football results, look ahead to tonight's game, a little bit between Notre Dame and Louisville. Baseball, look back on yesterday's games, look ahead to today's games. The U.S. Open, go over the results from the weekend in both the men's and women's, look ahead to today's matches. Ezekiel Elliott, still not with the Cowboys. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the FIBA World Cup, NFL Week 1, guess the lines, and best bet of the day. Okay, we're going to start with college football. We're going to go start with Friday's results and work our way to last night. So, without further ado, here we go. Like I said, we're starting Friday night because we did not have a podcast on Saturday. I normally don't have them on Saturdays unless there's an emergency. So here we go with the Friday results. Army over Rice 14-7. Army was probably looking ahead to Michigan a little bit there. 1-0 on the year. Rice 0-1. The quarterback for Army, Kelvin Hopkins Jr., 3 for 8, 53 yards and a touchdown. Not a great game for him. And the quarterback for Rice was Wiley Green, 7 for 14 and 62 yards. So a lot of running in that game. Number 18, Michigan State over Tulsa, 28-7. Sparty just cruised in the second half. They're 1-0. Tulsa's 0-1. Brian Lewerke, 21-37, 192 yards and a touchdown. And Zach Smith, 16-27, 153 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. Rutgers over UMass 48-21. A win for Rutgers, maybe their only win of the year. They want to know UMass is 0-1. The quarterback for Rutgers, McLean Carter, 21-31, 340 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 3 picks. And Randall West, 20-31, 106 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. 19, Wisconsin over to USF, 49-0. This was a complete domination by the Badgers. They're 1-0. USF's 0-1. Starting at quarterback for the Badgers was Jack Cohn. 19 of 26, 199 yards and 2 touchdowns. And at quarterback for USF, Blake Barnett, 13 of 30, 109 yards and 2 picks. So a bad game by him. Wake Forest over Utah State, 38-35. Wake Forest 1-0, USU 0-1. Jamie Newman, 34 of 47, 401 yards and 3 touchdowns. Jordan Love, 33 of 48, 416 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Nevada over Purdue, 34-31. That's a big upset in the Mountain West. They're 1-0. Purdue's 0-1. The quarterback for Nevada, Carson Strong, 30 of 51, 295 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Elijah Sindler, 34 of 52, 423 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 picks. Colorado over Colorado State, 52-31. Colorado 1-0, Colorado State 0-1. Stephen Montez, 13 of 20, 232 yards and 2 touchdowns. Colin Hill, 31 of 47, 374 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Oklahoma State over Oregon State, 52-36. Oklahoma State 1-0, Oregon State 0-1. The freshman quarterback for Oklahoma State, Spencer Sanders, 19 of 24, 203 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Jake Luton, 23 of 42, 251 yards and 3 touchdowns. Saturday's games. Number 5, Ohio State over FAU, 45-21. OSU's 1-0, FAU 0-1. Justin Fields, 18 of 25, 234 yards and 4 touchdown passes. Chris Robinson, 22 of 34, 178 yards and a touchdown pass. Number 21, Iowa State over Northern Iowa, 29-26 in triple overtime. A head-scratching thing that it had to take Iowa State 3 overtimes to beat Northern Iowa. Iowa State's 1-0. UNI 0-1. Brock Purdy, 30 of 41, 278 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Will McClavin, 25 of 42, 228 yards and a touchdown. Number 24, Nebraska defeats South Alabama 21. Nebraska 1-0, South Alabama 0-1. Adrian Martinez, 13 of 22, 178 yards and a pick. Cephas Johnson, 19 of 34, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Illinois over Akron, 42-3. Illinois 1-0, Akron 0-1. Brandon Peters, 14 of 23, 163 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the quarterback for Akron was Cato Nelson, 10 for 24, 122 yards and an interception. Indiana over Ball State, 34-24. Indiana 1-0, Ball State 0-1. Drew Plitt of Ball State, 26 of 41, 298 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And Michael Penix Jr., 24 of 40, 326 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. Boise State over Florida State, 36-31. Boise State 1-0, Florida State 0-1. Justin Blackman, 23 of 33, 327 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Hank Bashmeyer, 30 of 51, 407 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. NC State over East Carolina, 34-6. NC State's 1-0, ECU 0-1. Matthew McKay, 25 of 37, 308 yards and a touchdown. And the quarterback for East Carolina, Holton Ahlers, 22 of 39, 168 yards and an interception. Kansas over Indiana State, 24-17. Kansas 1-0, Indiana State 0-1. Carter Stanley, 20 of 29, 241 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Ryan Boyle, 22 of 34, 219 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Kentucky over Toledo, 38-24. Kentucky 1-0, Toledo 0-1. Terry Wilson, 19 of 26, 246 yards and 2 touchdowns. And starting at quarterback for the Rockets was Michael Guadignani, 7 of 12 and 122 yards. So they did a lot of groundwork in that game. Memphis over Ole Miss, 15-10. Memphis 1-0, Ole Miss 0-1. Brady White, 23 of 31, 172 yards and an interception. And Matt Corral, 9 of 19, 93 yards and a pick. Mississippi State over Louisiana, 38-28. Mississippi State 1-0, ULL 0-1. Tommy Stevens, 20 of 30, 236 yards and 2 touchdowns. And starting for the Raging Cajuns was Levi Lewis, 24 of 39, 267 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. Maryland over Howard, 79-0. Maryland 1-0, Howard 0-1. Good debut for Michael Locksley. Justin Jackson, 15 of 24, 245 yards and 4 touchdowns. And the quarterbacks for Howard were combined 67 yards with no touchdowns and no picks. So they just did the running game a lot there too. West Virginia over James Madison, 20-13. WVU's 1-0, JMU 0-1. Austin Kendall, 27 of 42, 260 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the quarterback from James Madison, Ben DiNucci, 13 of 20, 156 yards and an interception. Ohio over Rhode Island, 41-20. Ohio 1-0, Rhode Island 0-1. Nathan Rourke, 16 of 22, 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Vito Piori, 22 of 42, 291 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Number 13, Washington over Eastern Washington, 47-14. Washington 1-0, EWU 0-1. Jacob Eason had a nice debut, 27 of 36, 349 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Eric Berari, 21 of 35, 211 yards and a touchdown. Temple over Bucknell, 56 to 12. Temple 1-0, Bucknell 0-1. Anthony Russo, 32 of 41, 409 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. And the quarterback for Bucknell, Terran Earl, 11 of 25 and 82 yards. Number 15, Penn State over Idaho, 79 to 7. Penn State 1-0, Idaho 0-1. The quarterback for Penn State, Sean Clifford, 14 of 23, 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Mason Petrino, 11 of 17, 91 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Air Force over Colgate, 48 to 7. Air Force 1-0, Colgate 0-2, so Colgate must have played a game already. It's funny with Air Force that their quarterback only threw one pass for 41 yards, Isaiah Sanders. I guess Sanders is a very run-heavy player for Air Force. And Colgate's quarterback, Grant Brenneman, 9 of 16, 81 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. Navy over Holy Cross, 45 to 7. Navy 1-0, Holy Cross 0-1. The quarterback for Navy, Malcolm Perry, 6 of 903 yards and a rushing touchdown. And the quarterback for Holy Cross, Connor DeGanhart, 16 of 29, 167 yards. Eastern Michigan over Coastal Carolina, 30 to 23. My money line pick does not come through. Eastern Michigan 1-0, Coastal 0-1. The quarterback for Eastern Michigan, Mike Glass III, 20 of 20, 288 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Fred Payton, 29 of 43, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. North Carolina over South Carolina, 24 to 20. What a win for Mac Brown in his return to coaching. 1-0 is North Carolina. South Carolina's 0-1. Sam Howell, 15 of 24, 245 yards and 2 touchdowns. Jake Bentley, 16 of 30, 142 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Georgia State upsets Tennessee, 38-30. Georgia State 1-0, Tennessee 0-1. Dan Ellington, 11 of 24, 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Jared Garantano, 26 of 40, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Appalachian State over East Tennessee, 42 to 7. App State 1-0, East Tennessee 0-1. Zach Thomas, 16 of 24, 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Trey Mitchell, 12 of 19, 117 yards and a touchdown. So number 25, Stanford over Northwestern, 17 to 7. Stanford 1-0, Northwestern 0-1. KJ Costello, 16 of 20, 152 yards and a touchdown. He got injured in the game, and then came in backup quarterback Davis Mills, who threw for 81 yards, 7 completions on 14 attempts. Hunter Johnson, 6 of 17, 55 yards and 2 interceptions. And TJ Green, 6 of 10 for 62 yards. So their quarterback struggled. Arkansas over Portland State, 20 to 13. Arkansas 1-0. And Portland State 0-1. The quarterback for Arkansas, Brandon Hicks, 14 of 29, 143 yards. And the quarterback, Davis Alexander from Portland State, 10 of 21, 81 yards and 2 picks. Texas Tech over Montana State, 45 to 10. Texas Tech 1-0, Montana State 0-1. New quarterback, Alan Bowman, 40 of 55, 436 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't know if he's a new quarterback, but he's somebody that people like as a breakout. And the quarterback for Montana State, Casey Bauman, 7 of 19, 120 yards and 2 touchdowns. one touchdown. Boston College over Virginia Tech, 35-28. BC 1-0, Virginia Tech 0-1. Anthony Brown, 15 of 26, 275 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Ryan Willis, 29 of 47, 344 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Number 22, Syracuse over Liberty, 22-0, or 24-0. Syracuse 1-0, Liberty 0-1. Tommy DeVito, 17 of 35, 176 yards and 2 picks. And the quarterback for Liberty, Stephen Calvert, 234 yards, 2 interceptions on 39 attempts and 20 completions. New Mexico over Sam Houston State, 39-31. New Mexico 1-0. Sam Houston State 0-1. Starting at quarterback for New Mexico was Brant Hughes, 12 of 29, 218 yards. And the quarterback for Sam Houston State, Ty Brock, 21 of 38, 258 yards and a touchdown. UTSA over Incarnate Word, 35-7. UTSA 1-0, Incarnate Word 0-1. Frank Harris, 28 of 36, 206 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick. And John Copeland, 15 of 31, 181 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Troy over Campbell, 43-13. Troy 1-0, Campbell 0-1. Caleb Baker, 18 of 29, 282 yards and 2 touchdowns. And Haj Malik Williams, 7 of 13, 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. Cal over UC Davis, 27-13. Cal 1-0, UC Davis 0-1. Chase Garbers, 16 of 28, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. And the quarterback from UC Davis, Jake Mayer, 19 of 37, 173 yards. Marshall over VMI, 56-17. Marshall 1-0, VMI 0-1. Isaiah Green, 18 of 28, 238 yards, 4 touchdowns and a pick. And Reese Udinsky, 20 of 35, 192 yards and a touchdown. Old Dominion over Norfolk State, 24-21. Old Dominion 1-0, Norfolk State 0-1. Stone Smart, 17 of 23, 158 yards and a pick. And Jawan Carter, 19 of 29, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 picks. Southern Miss over Alcorn State, 38-10. Southern Miss 1-0, Alcorn 0-1. Southern Miss actually had the kickoff return for touchdown in the beginning of the game. That was neat. Jack Abraham, 18 of 28, 293 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. And the quarterback for Alcorn was Noah Johnson, 17 of 30, 143 yards and a pick. Northern Illinois over Indiana State, 24-10. Northern Illinois 1-0, Illinois State 0-1. Ross Bowers, 20 of 33, 299 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. And Brady Davis, 14 of 30, 287 yards, a touchdown, and the pick. Western Michigan over Monmouth, 48-13. Western Michigan 1-0, Monmouth 0-1. John Wisink, 20 of 25, 368 yards and 5 touchdowns. And the quarterback from Monmouth, Kenji Barhar, 26 of 41, 194 yards and a touchdown. SMU over Arkansas State, 37-30. This was one of the upsets I got right, although it was a short number. I think Arkansas State was a 2.5-point favorite. SMU was 1-0, Arkansas State 0-1. Sam Buechele, the former quarterback of Texas, 30 of 49, 360 yards, and an interception. And the quarterback for Arkansas State, Logan Bonner, 32 for 50, 324 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Kansas State over Nicholls, 49-14. Kansas State 1-0, Nicholls 0-1. Chris Kleeman gets a win in his Kansas State coaching debut. Skylar Thompson, 16 of 22, 212 yards and a touchdown and a rushing touchdown. And the quarterback for Nicholls, Chase Forcade, 10 of 18, 126 yards and a pick. Baylor over Stephen F. Austin, 56-17. Baylor's 1-0. Stephen F. Austin 0-1. Charlie Brewer, 21 of 31, 199 yards and 3 touchdowns. And the quarterback for Stephen F. Austin was Trey Self, 15 of 29, 140 yards and an interception. Number 3, Georgia over Vanderbilt, 30-6. Georgia 1-0, Vandy 0-1. Jake Fromm, 15 of 23, 156 yards and a touchdown. And the quarterback from Vanderbilt, Riley Neal, 14 of 25, 85 yards. Number 6, LSU kills Georgia Southern, 55-3. An impressive win for Ed Orgeron's team. They're 1-0. Georgia Southern is 0-1. Joe Burrow, 23 of 27, 278 yards and 5 touchdowns. And the quarterback for Georgia Southern, Justin Tomlin, only 3 for 8, 24 yards. Number 7, Michigan over Middle Tennessee, 40-21. Michigan 1-0, Middle Tennessee 0-1. Shea Patterson, 17 of 29, 203 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Asher O'Hara, 22 of 32, 217 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick and a rushing touchdown. Number 16, Auburn over number 11, Oregon, 27-21. No, this is not an upset because Auburn was favored. Auburn's 1-0, Oregon's 0-1. Bo Nix, 13 of 31, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Justin Herbert, 28 of 37, 242 yards, and a touchdown. Number 20, Iowa over Miami of Ohio, 38-14. Iowa 1-0, Miami of Ohio 0-1. Nate Stanley, 21 of 30, 252 yards and 3 touchdowns. And Brett Gabbert, 17 of 27, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the pick. Wyoming over Missouri, 37-31. That's a big upset. Missouri was favored by 17. Wyoming 1-0, Missouri 0-1. The quarterback for Wyoming, Sean Chambers, 6 of 16, 92 yards, and a 75-yard rush touchdown in there as well. And Kelly Bryant, his debut, 31 of 48, 423 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Virginia over Pitt, 30-14. Virginia's 1-0, Pitt's 0-1. Bryce Perkins, 20 of 34, 181 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kenny Pickett, 21 of 41, 185 yards, a touchdown, and 2 picks. North Texas over Abilene Christian, 51-31. North Texas 1-0. Abilene Christian 0-1. Mason Fine, 28 of 37, 383 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. And the quarterback for ACU is Luke Anthony, 24 of 34, 273 yards, and a touchdown. Number 10, Texas over Louisiana Tech, 45-34. Texas 1-0. L Tech 0-1. Sam Ehlinger, 28 of 38, 276 yards and 4 touchdowns. And Jamar Smith, 34 of 51, 331 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the pick. UTEP over Houston Baptist, 36-34. UTEP 1-0, Houston Baptist 0-1. The quarterback from UTEP, Brandon Jones, 10 of 20, 268 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And Bailey Zappi, 27 of 37, 300 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Houston Baptist. TCU over Arkansas Pine Bluff, 39-7. TCU 1-0, Pine Bluff 0-1. The quarterback for TCU, Max Duggan, 16 of 23, 165 yards, a touchdown, the rush touchdown. And the quarterback from Pine Bluff, Shannon Patrick, 8 of 16, 107 yards, and an interception. UL Monroe over Grambling, 31-9. UL Monroe 1-0, Grambling 0-1. The quarterback from UL Monroe, Caleb Evans, 19 of 25, 183 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And Jeremy Hickbottom, 18 of 31, 157 yards, and a touchdown from Grambling. San Diego State over Weber State, 6-0. That's just an awful performance by San Diego State, even in a win. They're 1-0. Weber's 0-1. The quarterback from San Diego State, Ryan Agnew, 16 of 30, 108 yards, and the quarterback from Weber State, Jake Constantine, 21 of 31, 119 yards, and an interception. Number 23, Washington State over New Mexico State, 58-7. Wazoo 1-0. New Mexico State 0-1. Anthony Gordon, 29 of 35, 420 yards and 5 touchdowns. He's the new quarterback replacing Gardner Minshew. And the quarterback from New Mexico State, Josh Adkins, 28 of 42, 221 yards and 2 interceptions. UNLV over Southern Utah, 56-23. UNLV 1-0. Southern Utah 0-1. Amari Rogers, 11 of 17, 144 yards and a touchdown. And Tyler Skidmore, 11 of 16, 157 yards and 2 touchdowns for Southern Utah. USC over Fresno State, 31-23. Unfortunate news from this game. JT Daniels left the game with a torn ACL. He's out for the season. That just makes Clay Helton's likelihood of getting fired even higher. That was my immediate takeaway from that, and obviously it's just a huge loss for USC. Let's see how their backup does and replace them. USC 1-0, Fresno 0-1. JT Daniels before the injury, 25 of 34, 215 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. And coming in to back him up was Keaton Slovis, who threw for 57 yards and an interception, 6 for 8. And the quarterback for Fresno State was Jorge Reina, 19 of 39, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. So USC survives week 1, but gets dealt a death blow to their season, in my opinion, and Clay Helton's job. Last night, number 4 Oklahoma defeats Houston 49-31 in Jalen Hurts' debut for the Sooners and Dana Holgerson's debut for the Cougars. Oklahoma 1-0, Houston 0-1. Jalen Hurts 20 of 23, 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. De'Ara King 14 of 27, 167 yards and 2 touchdowns. Tonight we have Louisville and Scott Satterfield's coaching debut for the Cardinals against number 9th ranked Notre Dame from Cardinal Stadium in Louisville. Notre Dame is an 18.5-point favorite. They were a 20.5-point favorite, but the lines moved in favor of Louisville. I guess a lot of people like Louisville to cover the number. I chose for this game, in my picks, I believe the over, and that was at 55, and I thought that was a little high. So I'm going to stick with my over pick, and I think Notre Dame wins the game straight up. So what else is to look forward to in this night? Obviously, Scott Satterfield's debut. How does Ian Book look in his second season as the Irish starting quarterback? Will the Notre Dame Fighting Irish have a hangover in terms of last year with the college football playoff, and then they lost badly to Clemson? I believe they were shut out in that game. If not, they probably did have a touchdown. But that was just a talent mismatch in that game. But I'm interested to see how the Irish come out. I think they'll look like a hungry team, and they'll look like a team that I think is poised to do some big things yet again this season. All right, we're going to switch over to baseball now and go over the results from yesterday and look ahead to today's games. So the Yankees beat the A's 5-4 on a walk-off homer by Mike Ford. And before that was the game-tying home run by Brett Gardner. And then Mike Ford pinch hits for Clint Frazier and hits it out of the ballpark. The Yanks have the best record in baseball, 90-48. Oakland 78-58. Adam Ottavino the win, Liam Hendricks the loss. J-Happ started perhaps one of his better starts this season. 6 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. ERA 5.34. The walk still hurt, so that's what makes it look pretty bad. Sean Manaea in his return from Tommy John surgery, he looked so awesome. 5 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, and ERA of 0. He'll help the Athletics down the stretch. Cardinals over the Reds 4-3 in Game 1 of their doubleheader. The Cardinals are 76-59, Cincinnati 63-73. Carlos Martinez the win, Michael Lorenzen the loss. Miles Mikolas started for the Cardinals, 6 innings, 4 hits, 3 runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts, ERA 4.32, so a quality start for him. Tyler Mahle, also with the quality start, 6 in the third innings, 2 hits, an earned run, no walks, 5 strikeouts, ERA 4.72. Astros over the Blue Jays 2-0. The special thing about this game is that Justin Verlander threw a no-hitter. That was an absolutely outstanding performance by Verlander. Perhaps his best regular season start as a Houston Astro. Houston's 89-49, Toronto 55-83. Justin Verlander to win, Ken Giles the loss. Verlander with the no-hitter, 1 walk, 14 strikeouts, ERA 2.56. The 1 walk was in the first inning with 1 out. So who would have thought at that time that Verlander would throw a no-hitter? Wilmer Font, 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, ERA 3.36. Or 3.66, my bad. Sam Gaviglio in relief, 3 innings, no hits, no runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA 4.5. Rays over the Indians 8-2. Tampa is currently leading the first wild card right now, courtesy of them sweeping Cleveland and the Yankees taking 2 out of 3 from the Athletics. Tampa's 80-58. Cleveland is 79-58. So Cleveland's a half game back of the Rays. Charlie Morton with the win. Adam Pluko with the loss. Morton 5 in the third innings, 4 hits and a run, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts, ERA 3.06. Pluko 4 in the third inning, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, and 2 strikeouts, ERA 4.53. Twins over the Tigers 8-3. Minnesota is 84-52. Detroit 40-94. Michael Pineda to win. Steven Turnbull the loss. Pineda 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 9 strikeouts, ERA 4.11. He's been hot of late. Turnbull 4 and 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 6 runs, 4 walks, 4 strikeouts, ERA 4.45. Nationals over the Marlins 9-3. The Nats are 77-58. Miami 48-88. Patrick Corbin to win. Caleb Smith the loss. Corbin 6 innings, 3 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, ERA 3.19. Caleb Smith 5 in the third inning, 7 hits, 6 runs, a walk, 5 strikeouts, ERA 4.3. Royals over the Orioles 6-4. The Royals are 49-89. Baltimore 45-91. Kevin McCarthy to win. Paul Friedel, and Kennedy the save. Duffy 6 in the third inning, 7 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, ERA 4.89. Aaron Brooks 4 in the third inning, 6 hits, 3 runs, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts, ERA 5.81. Brewers over the Cubs 4-0. They take 2 out of 3 in that series. The Brewers are 70-66. The Cubs are 73-63. Getting the win for Milwaukee was Jay Jackson. And Tyler Chatwood charged with the loss. He had to start in this game in place of Yu Darvish, who was scratched. Gio Gonzalez 3 innings, no hits, no runs, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts, here at 4.14. Chatwood 3 and 2/3 innings, 3 hits and a run, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts, ERA 4.14. Mariners over the Rangers 11-3. Seattle is 58-80. Texas is 67-71. Yusei Kikuchi to win, and getting the loss for the Rangers was Brett Martin. Kikuchi 5 innings, 6 hits, 3 runs, no walks, and a strikeout, ERA 5.36. Martin started. He was the opener. 2/3 of an inning, 3 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts, ERA 5.17. Farrell in relief, 2 in the third innings, 2 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, ERA 4.15. Pirates over the Rockies 6-2. Pittsburgh is 60-77. Colorado 59-79. Stephen Brault the win. Jeff Hoffman the loss. Brault 6 in the third innings, 4 hits and a run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts, ERA 3.88. So a quality start for him. Hoffman 5 innings, 9 hits, 2 runs, a walk, 3 strikeouts, ERA 7.35. Padres over the Giants 8-4. The Padres are 64-72. San Francisco is 66-70. Eric Lauer to win. Jeff Samardzija the loss. Lauer, 6 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts. You're at 4.99. Samardzija, 5 in the third inning, 6 hits, 6 runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts. You're at 3.61. I'm sorry, 9 hits, not 6 hits. He had 6 runs. Red Sox over the Angels, 4-3. Boston is 74-63. LA is 65-73. Ryan Weber to win. Andrew Heaney to left. Brandon Workman to save. David Price only went 2 innings, gave up a hit, no one runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 4.28, so they used him as an opener pretty much. In that game, it was his first game back from his injury. Andrew Heaney, 5 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts, 4.16. Dodgers over the Diamondbacks, 4-3 in 11 innings. The Dodgers are 89-50. Arizona is 70-67. Getting the win for the Dodgers, improving to 4-0. Casey Sadler, he should be on their postseason roster. Taylor Clark with the loss. Pedro Baez gets the save. Starting for the Dodgers in this game is Ross Stripling, 3 innings, 2 hits, no runs, no walks, 2 strikeouts, 3.5. That was his return off the injured list. Alex Young, 4 in the third innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts, 3.84. Braves over the White Sox, 5-3. The Braves are 84-54. Chicago, 16-76. Julio Teheran the win. Lucas Giolito the loss. Mark Melancon the save. Teheran, 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts, 3.38, so a quality outing for him. Giolito, 6 innings, 4 hits, 4 runs, a walk, 7 strikeouts, ERA 3.3. Phillies over the Mets, 5-2 on Sunday Night Baseball. The Phillies are 70-65. The Mets are 69-67. Hector Neris the win. And the loss for the Mets, Daniel Zamora. Starting in this game for the Phillies was Zach Eflin, 7 innings, 3 hits, and a run, a walk, 3 strikeouts, 4.33. That was one of his better outings of the year. Marcus Stroman, 6 innings, 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, 4.55. So a quality outing for him. Reds over the Cardinals, 5-3 in their second game of the doubleheader. The Reds are 64-73. The Cardinals 76-60. Luis Castillo to win, 14-5. Daniel Ponce de Leon the loss. He's 1-2. Rafael Iglesias gets his 28th save of the season. Castillo 6 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, 3.25. Ponce de Leon 4 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 2 strikeouts, 4.03. Today's game's about to get underway. 1 o'clock ESPN. Rangers, Yankees. You got Mike Minor and Masahiro Tanaka. Since it's an ESPN game, I'll pick it. This is easy. Tanaka's the best pitcher on the Yankees. And that guy is going to be the leader of their staff come the playoffs. Unless if Luis Severino's back and the guy that he was in the first half of last year. But I trust Tanaka in the bigger spot than I trust the young ace for the Yankees. So give me Masahiro Tanaka and the Yankees. I like them to win by a score of 6-3. I could see Texas putting up a couple runs. And the Yankees just tweeted out that today's game will not start in time because of the weather. And that, to me, I knew was in play. So Yankee game might not start right away. 1 o'clock as well, the Mets at the Nationals. Noah Syndergaard and Joe Ross. Orioles, Rays. Asher Wojciechowski and Ryan Yarbrough. A lot of day games because of the holiday. Tigers, Twins from Detroit. Jake Odorizzi and Jordan Zimmerman. Zimmerman's pitching a little better of late. 1:20, Blue Jays, Braves. Jacob Blazepek and Mike Soroka. Phillies, Reds at 2 o'clock. Drew Smyly and Anthony DeSclafani. Giants, Cardinals at 2:15. Tyler Beede and Adam Wainwright. 2:20, Mariners, Cubs from Wrigley. Justice Sheffield and Kyle Hendricks. 4 o'clock ESPN, the Astros at the Brewers from Milwaukee. Garrett Cole and Adrian Hauser. This is easy. I love the Astros on the road here. They're the much better team. I would parlay them and the Yankees right now. A part of my best bet. So stay tuned for that. So I love the Astros. They'll win big over the Brewers, in my opinion, today. Padres over the Diamondbacks. Or they're playing each other. What am I saying? Padres over the Diamondbacks. These aren't results. Cal Quantrill and Mike Leake. They'll probably be the result, though. Although Arizona's a favorite. 7 o'clock, White Sox, Indians. Ross Detweiler and Aaron Savali. And 8 o'clock, Rockies-Dodgers. You got Peter Lambert and Walker Buehler. The story about this game is that Gavin Lux, the top 10 prospect in baseball, the Dodgers' number 1 prospect, making his big league debut tonight playing at second base. And a lot of people think that he's going to be their second baseman for the playoffs. He should be. He's much better than Chris Taylor and Kike Hernandez. He's much better than those guys. And that might make him, if he's the real deal, that's going to make them possible favorites over New York and Houston, potentially. So keep an eye out for that. And they obviously have the starting pitching advantage over New York. There's a couple of the lesser teams that are going to be in the playoffs that have starting pitching advantages over New York, like Washington and Cleveland. Well, that's if Cleveland makes it. With the way they're going, they might not even make it. So we'll see about that. Alrighty. Tennis. We'll start on the men's side. And we'll start from Friday. Demeanor upsets Kei Nishioka in 4 sets. I got that right. I said that would happen. Federer over Evans in 3 sets. Goffin over Carreno Busta in 3. Wawrinka over Lorenzi in 3. Dimitrov over Majstrak in 3. Kofer over Basilevihi in 4. Medvedev over Lopez in 4. And Djokovic over Kudla in 3. That was round 3. And it continued on Saturday. Andujar over Bublik in 3. Nadal over Chung in 3. Zverev over Bedini in 4. Cilic over Isner in 4. Berrettini over Poprian in 4. Schwartzman over Sangren in 3. Monfils over Shapovalov in 5. And Rublev over Kyrgios in 3. 4th round began yesterday. Federer over Goffin in 3. Dimitrov over Demeanor in 3. Medvedev over Kofer in 4. And Wawrinka over Djokovic in 3. Djokovic had to retire due to an injury. So Wawrinka moves on. So it's going to be interesting to see who comes out. I'm going to say it's going to be the winner of the inevitable Nadal versus Federer in the semifinal. The winner of that's the real championship in my opinion. And we're going to talk to Derek about that tomorrow. 1 o'clock on ESPN2, you have Rublev and Berrettini. I'm going to go with Berrettini. 2 o'clock ESPN2, Zverev and Schwartzman. I'm going to go Zverev. 5:30 ESPN2, Monfils and Andujar. I'm going to take Monfils. And 7 o'clock ESPN2, we have Cilic and Nadal. I'm taking Nadal. Now we're going to move on to the women's side of things, starting with Friday night. Pliskova over Jabeur in 3. Martic over Sevastova in 2. Barty over Sakari in 3. Serena over Muchova in 2. Konta over Zhang in 2. Wang over Ferro in 2. Keys over Kenin in 2. And Civilitina over Nestremka in 2. That began round 3, and it continued into Saturday. Townsend over Seresta in 2. Mertens over Pekovic in 2. Andreescu over Wozniacki in 2. On over Stremko in 2. Vekic over Putintseva in 2. Jorgis over Kiki Bertens in 2. Osoko over Coco Gauff in 2. And Bencic over Kontaveit in a walkover. Wonder what happened there. Round 4. Wang Qiang over Ashley Barty in 2. Joanna Konta over Kristina Pliskova in 3. Serena Williams over Petra Martic in 2 straight sets. And Alina Civilitina over Madison Keys in 2 sets. Going on right now, in round 4, you have Donna Vecek and Julia Gorgeous. They're in the second set. We'll see who comes out on top in there. I would say Gorgeous, although I don't feel great about it because these 2 girls, to me, are like on the same level. And then going on right now is Osaka and Bencic. I'm going to take Osaka there. She's the number 1 player in the world. That's on ESPN2. 3:30 ESPN2. You have Elise Mertens against On. I'm going to take Mertens there. And then Bianca Andreescu and Taylor Townsend, 9:30 ESPN2. I'm going to take Andreescu, although I think Taylor Townsend will make it a competitive match. All right, FIBA Basketball World Cup I want to get to really quick. That started recently, so I want to go through some of the results from the weekend. We're going to start in Group A. Poland over Venezuela, 80-69. And Ivory Coast over China. China over Ivory Coast, 70-55. And that was on Saturday. This morning, you had Venezuela over Ivory Coast, 87-71. And then Poland over China, 79-76 in overtime. So Poland's 2-0, China's 1-1, Venezuela 1-1, and Ivory Coast is 0-2. Group B. Saturday, you had Russia over Nigeria, 82-77, and Argentina over South Korea, 95-69. And then this morning, you had Nigeria fall to Argentina, 94-81, and you had Russia defeat South Korea, 87-73. And on Wednesday, you have South Korea against Nigeria and Russia against Argentina. And by the way, on Wednesday in Group A, you have Ivory Coast against Poland and Venezuela over China. So Spain's 2-0, Puerto Rico 1-1, Tunisia 1-1, and Iran 0-2. And that is the Group C standings. The Group B standings: Argentina and Russia 2-0, Nigeria and South Korea 0-2. So the results from Group C: you had Puerto Rico over Iran, 83-81, and Spain over Tunisia, 101-62. That was on Saturday. And this morning you had Tunisia over Iran, 79-67, and Spain over Puerto Rico, 73-63. And on Wednesday you had Puerto Rico against Tunisia and Spain against Iran. Group D, finals from Saturday: Serbia over Angola, 105-59. Italy over Philippines, 108-62. This morning, Italy over Angola, 92-61, and Serbia over the Philippines, 126-67. Serbia and Italy 2-0, and Angola and Philippines 0-2. And Italy and Serbia play each other on Wednesday, and Angola and Philippines play each other on Wednesday as well. Group E, Saturday results: Turkey over Japan, 86-67, and USA over Czech Republic, 88-67. And that was actually on Sunday. And then tomorrow you have Japan and Czech Republic, US and Turkey, and then Thursday you have Turkey and Czech Republic, and the US and Japan. We're obviously going to go over tomorrow morning's results on tomorrow's podcast. US and Turkey 1-0, Japan and Czech Republic obviously 0-1. Group F Sunday results: Brazil over New Zealand, 102-94, and Greece over Montenegro, 85-60. Montenegro and New Zealand play each other tomorrow, as well as Brazil and Greece. And then Thursday, Brazil and Montenegro, and Greece and New Zealand. Greece and Brazil obviously 1-0, New Zealand and Montenegro 0-1. Group G from yesterday: Dominican Republic over Jordan, 80-76, and France over Germany, 78-74. Tomorrow you have Germany and Dominican Republic, and Jordan against France. And then on Thursday you have Jordan against Germany and Dominican Republic against France. Dominican Republic and France 1-0, and Jordan and Germany 0-1. And last but not least, Group H results from yesterday: Australia over Canada, 108-92, and Lithuania against Senegal. Lithuania wins 101-47. Wow. Tomorrow, Australia and Senegal, and Lithuania and Canada. Thursday, Canada and Senegal, and Lithuania and Australia. Lithuania and Australia 1-0, and Canada and Senegal 0-1. The second round begins on Friday. And then they reclassify all the groups and what stop. So then it would be groups I, J, K, and L, and then they reclassify. So we'll see how that goes. Now move on to football. Ezekiel Elliott, there were some reports over the weekend that a deal was close to being done, and then it was reported this morning by NFL Network that they're not close to being done. So that's up in the air. There's a chance that Ezekiel Elliott misses time. And then Jerry Jones came out and made a comment, said that he's prepared for him to miss time. So I believe in NFL Network and Jerry Jones more than I believe in that person that came out on Twitter that said that the Zeke thing was almost done with the Cowboys. I'm going to say that Zeke ends up missing a few games. But that said, the Cowboys should start 3-0. They're playing three clearly inferior teams, whether they have Zeke on their roster or not. They should beat the Giants at home. They should beat the Redskins on the road, especially if it's not Dwayne Haskins starting. And the Redskins' offense is pathetic. And then the Dolphins, who just trade away Laramie Tunsil to the Houston Texans for 2 first-round picks and a second-round pick. So the Cowboys should start the season 3-0 regardless. So the Cowboys, whether they have Zeke or not, are under pressure to start 3-0. Jason Garrett is certainly a coach on the hot seat in the NFL. So it looks like that Zeke may not play week 1 after reports yesterday were surfacing that a deal was going to be done by last night. And no, we don't have a deal. So I don't think we'll see him week 1. Speaking of Laramie Tunsil trade, that was unbelievable what the Texans pulled off. And they gave up a lot, but they were desperate for that tackle to protect their franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson. That really improves a unit that was the worst among possible division winners in the league, the Texans' offensive line. With Tunsil there, that is a much improved unit. He's a top 5 offensive lineman in the game. He's a Pro Bowl caliber player, and he'll certainly help protect Deshaun Watson and help their running game with the acquisition of Carlos Hyde to replace Lamar Miller. So, a big weekend for the Texans. And then they also traded away Jadeveon Clowney to the Seattle Seahawks for Barkevious Mingo, another player, can't think of who it was, and another draft pick. They didn't get that much for Jadeveon Clowney. I mean, Clowney, let's be honest, Clowney would have been in that Miami deal for Tunsil if Clowney didn't have control of this. He wanted to go somewhere that was a possible contender, and the Seahawks are a destination because of Russell Wilson and because of Pete Carroll and what they've created there. So he wanted to go to a good team, or a team that's relevant in the Seahawks. And now the question is, does this make the Seahawks a playoff team? I'm not so sure. We'll see once the predictions come out from me on Wednesday. And by the way, the Jadeveon Clowney trade return, Texas gets a 3rd-round pick in next year's draft, Barkevious Mingo, and Jacob Martin. So that's a very underwhelming return for Clowney, in which they probably could have dealt him to Miami if Clowney didn't have control, and they could have got Tunsil back in that trade. And Miami did very well in the Tunsil trade, regardless of whether they got Clowney or not. So, good job by Miami getting all those picks and stuff for a player that is a great player, but somebody that actually has had a shaky past. Don't forget, the reason why he was drafted by the Dolphins was because of the smoking incident at the draft night, that video that surfaced on draft night, or else he would have been picked in the top 2 in that draft and not slipped all the way to Miami, wherever Miami took him that year. Guess the lines week 1 of the NFL season. I love this game. You guess the lines, and you see how close you are to the Vegas line. So, without further ado, here we go. The Packers against the Bears on Thursday night. I have the Bears favored by 3.5 points at home against Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And the Chicago Bears are favored by 3.5 points. So, oh no, it dropped to 3. Oh my goodness, I was a half point off on that one. So, people are so lucky that they ended up getting whatever side that they're on, the 3.5. And some of them that would like to bet the whatever side is probably glad it dropped so they could get a possible push, if anything. So, that's that. The Browns host the Titans. I have the Browns favored by 6.5 points, and the Cleveland Browns are favored by 5.5. So, I was a point off on that one. I thought that was going to be higher than 5.5, obviously, so I was only a point off there. The Ravens are at the Dolphins. I have the Ravens as a 4-point favorite in Miami, and the Ravens are favored by a whopping 6.5. I think that was because of the Tunsil trade. I guess Tunsil's worth 2.5 points. That's just crazy to me that they value Tunsil so much. And I'm sure that Texans line dropped with that trade, or it probably remained the same because it's like addition by subtraction with Clowney and Tunsil, but we'll get to that game in a little bit. The Falcons are at the Vikings. I have the Vikings favored by 5, and the Vikings are favored by 4. So I was 1 point off on that line. Normally the Vikings get an extra home point when they're home because that crowd is just great. The Bills at the Jets. I have the Jets by 3, and the Jets are favored by 3. So normally when it's two teams in the same division that are around the same in terms of talent and whatnot, it's home team by 3. Redskins at the Eagles. I have the Eagles favored by 7.5 points, and Philadelphia is favored by 8.5. So a lot of people love the Eagles in this spot. So I was a whole point off on that game. The Rams are at the Panthers. The Rams I have as a 3.5 point road favorite. I wonder if this line's off the board right now because of the Cam Newton stuff. No, it's not. The Rams are favored by 3 on the road. So I was a half point off on that game. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are at the Jaguars. I have the Chiefs as a 3-point road favorite at Jacksonville, and the Chiefs are favored by 4. So I guess Patrick Mahomes is worth an extra point than I would project. The Colts are at the Chargers. I initially had the Chargers by 3, but I have to change that because of the Luck injury. But now I have the Chargers as a 7.5 point home favorite against the Indianapolis Colts. And the Chargers are favored by 6.5. That's low to me. I think that should be a 1 point higher because I think Luck is worth so much, or was worth so much. The Bengals at the Seahawks. I have the Seahawks by a whopping 10.5, and I have Seattle by 9.5. So I was a whole point off there. The Cowboys are hosting the Giants. I have the Cowboys by 7.5, and Dallas is laying 7. So the point dropped a half point because of the Zeke stuff, and I still think that the line shouldn't be any different because I think that the Giants are just a really bad football team, and the Cowboys, I think, are an underrated football team with more than just Ezekiel Elliott on their team. The Lions are at the Cardinals, and I have the Lions as a 1 point favorite in Arizona, and Detroit's favored by 2.5 after that game opened as a pick'em. So I was a 1.5 off on that game. The 49ers at the Buccaneers. I have the 49ers favored by 1.5 on the road, and San Francisco is favored by... Wait a minute, Tampa Bay's a 1 point favorite. That's ridiculous. The wrong team is favored in that game. The wrong team is favored in that game. Vegas, get your act together. Come on. Like, really? Jameis Winston is favored over Jimmy Garoppolo? Really? I get it. They have a coaching advantage with Arians over Kyle Shanahan, but come on. The 49ers are a better team than the Buccaneers. Like, give me a break. The Steelers at the Patriots. I have the Patriots by 6.5, and Tom Brady and company are laying 6. So I was a half point off there. So the Patriots are deserving big-time home favorite, or somewhat big-time home favorite in that game. Texans at the Saints. I have the Saints by 4.5, and New Orleans is favored by 7. Yikes. They must value Clowney that much. That is a ridiculous line. I think that's a lot of points. I love the Saints this year, but they should not be favored by 7 over a team that is a pretty good team in the Texans. So maybe if that was the Giants at the Saints, maybe that'd be double digits, but maybe it's a little bit of an outlier. Who's like a mediocre team that I would pick Saints by 7? The Panthers in their own division. I would say that they should be a 7-point favorite over the Carolina Panthers, but I think 7's a lot of points against the Houston Texans. And then the Broncos at the Raiders, I have John Gruden's team favored by 2.5, and that is currently a pick'em after Oakland opened as a 3-point favorite. So that's a pick'em right now. I guess a lot of people really like the Broncos this year and Joe Flacco. So again, the lines are Bears -3, Browns -5.5, Ravens -6.5, Vikings -4, Jets -3, Eagles -8.5, Rams -3, Chiefs -4, Chargers -6.5, Seahawks -9.5, Cowboys -7.5, Lions -2.5, Bucks -1, Patriots -6, Saints -7, and the Raiders at a pick'em. I think there's a chance that the 49ers flip to being favored over the Bucks because they're just a better team. Like, really, Vegas? I think the wrong team is favored in that game. And get at me if the Bucks win this game, or I'll look like an idiot. But the 49ers should be favored over the Buccaneers. And I think that Broncos-Raiders should be a pick'em. I think they got that right. I just thought that the Raiders would get extra points because of Gruden and Antonio Brown in that home debut thing. But I think they got it right with the pick'em. I think there's a chance that the Broncos could flip to be a favorite because that's a good public team as well. So we'll see. And then depending on Cam Newton's availability, if Cam is officially playing, then I could see the Rams line moving a little bit. And then keep an eye on Giants, Cowboys with Ezekiel Elliott. I could see money being wagered towards the Giants if Zeke doesn't play. If Dwayne Haskins was starting against the Eagles, maybe that line would be a little, like maybe a point lower, because I value Haskins more than Keenum. And my what if is what if Daniel Jones was starting for the Giants instead of Eli Manning. I don't think the line would move because of the team around Jones not being so great. So that would be an issue for me more than anything. And I guess you could say the same case for Haskins in Washington. But I just think Haskins is going to be one of those quarterbacks that can flat out change the game and change an outlook of somebody's team, like he did with the with Deshaun Watson with the Houston Texans from a few years ago. So that's a good example of how putting in a rookie quarterback can change the outlook of somebody's team. And I predicted that Watson would be playing for Houston, and that's why I thought Houston would be good that year. And obviously Watson towards ACL, and that pretty much ended their season. So there's guess the lines for week 1. We're going to do guess the lines for week 2 tomorrow for college after the Notre Dame-Louisville game goes final. So I can do the guess the lines for that on tomorrow's podcast. Best bet of the day brought to you by DraftKings. I know I went over an hour today on the podcast. It's just because I had a lot to do and whatnot. So best bet, I have a couple options. There's tennis, there's obviously college football, and there's baseball. So without further ado, here we go. I mentioned 2 teams that I knew I was picking in the first place for best bet, and that is obviously the Yankees and the Houston Astros. I'm also going to take the Cubs on here too because they're a pretty big favorite. I'm not taking the Indians because they've pretty much have killed some people lately. I'm taking Notre Dame. I'm going to go to the U.S. Open men's. I'm going to take Monfils. I'm going to take the Doll. And then I'm going to flip. Where's the women? Oh, there's the women. then flip to the women's side, and I am going to take Elise Mertens and Bianca Andreescu. So that's 8, 631 odds. I'm wagering $1 on this payout of $7.31. So there you go. Best bet. 3 baseball. I'm going with Yankees, Cubs, and Astros. And then I'm taking Notre Dame on the money line. And then tennis, I'm taking Gail Bonfils, Rafael Nadal, Elise Mertens, and Bianca Andreescu as my best bet. Again, wagering $1, 631 odds, payout of $7.31. That's it for the podcast today. I'll be back tomorrow recapping Notre Dame, Louisville, tennis, baseball. Look ahead to tomorrow's games. Guess the Lions College Football Week 1. I'm going to have a bunch of guests on tomorrow to preview the NFL season as well. Hope you guys have a great day, everybody.